What's up, YouTube? Bay Area Baller back again. Warriors made a big move, signing Dario Saric. We're talking Dubs, Giants, 49ers. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I never would have thought the Warriors dynasty could hinge upon if we could sign Dario Saric. I never thought it would come to that, but here we are. And those were some of the thoughts that have been running through my mind. We've been watching the Lakers have this great free agent offseason. We've been watching the Suns scoop up all these vet minimums. And it's like, Dubs, Mike Dunleavy, what are we doing? Right? But hey, finally, they brought in Corey Joseph, but today they get Dario Saric, who, in my opinion, this is an absolute steal at the minimum. To be honest, when I was previewing free agency, Dario Saric's name came up. In my head, I was like, I think it's a player he's too good to get the minimum. And let me remind people, this past season for Saric, this was his first year back coming off a torn ACL. And I've heard a lot of athletes talk about it. Sometimes it's not until that second year removed from the ACL where you really feel 100%. So we're getting Saric in that second year off the ACL. And I'm really excited because the Warriors, this was the move they needed. As I'm looking up and down the remaining players, Saric really stood out, him and Christian Wood. But Christian Wood doesn't seem like the type of guy who would take the minimum. Although Mike Dunleavy, you might as well call him up. Don't stop now. Test the waters on Christian Wood. Say, hey, bring him in. We'll improve your value. Your stock will go up just like Dante DiVincenzo's did a year in our system with our guys. So don't stop now. Keep making calls. Let's get Wood in. But Saric is signed. I know we've been talking about it for about a week now. And Sarge is a damn good basketball. He's going to play the 4, the 5. He can stretch the floor, whereas, when Draymond Green, Kevon Looney are setting these picks, they're not really a threat to shoot it from distance. We know Draymond, he hits his occasional 3, but Dario Saric, he's a marksman from distance, shot 39% last year. That's sniper status. That's on about 2 attempts per game. It's a big time signing. Obviously he has familiarity with Chris Paul. And, after the news broke last night, I was watching more on Dario Saric, just some highlights and whatnot. And you can see him working in Phoenix with Chris Paul. It's going to be a nice pick and roll duo. Whereas, Looney and Draymond, they might attack the rim off a pick and roll, whereas Saric, he can pick and pop. He's going to stretch it. So that's going to give this Warriors offense a new dimension, which, it was vastly needed. They needed that stretch big, and Dario Saric is going to bring that. This is a guy early in his career. There was a lot of hype on Dario. Maybe not all-star status, but the guy, he averaged 15 a game, 14.6 back in 2018. That was with Philly. Then he kind of bounced around. He spent a year in Minnesota. Then he was with Phoenix, tore the ACL in the 2021-22 season. And this is a big-time acquisition. Now, as I'm looking at the Western Conference, and this chat's live, let me say what's up to the chat. El Camilo Dorado. It's Dario. Thanks, El Camilo. Thanks for stopping by. Bill says, hats fire. Hey, I appreciate that. You like that Barry sliding in? No doubt. Barry's the GOAT. At least to be. Barry is my GOAT. When I was a kid watching, as soon as Barry stepped up to the plate, you dropped what you were doing and you locked in on that AB, because if they were pitching to him, there was a high probability he was going yard. Hey, why don't we like this video? If you're watching it, like it right now. That way more people pop in here. More likes means more folks get some more eyeballs. That's what we want. We want some more eyeballs. So hit that like. I appreciate that, Bill. Bebop, thanks for sliding through. Yeah, Giants game is at 1. So I said, hey, let's talk some ball, all Bay Area sports before the Giants game starts, because I'm going to be tuned in. I've been watching some more Giants ball lately, and we'll get to the Giants here in a minute. But getting back to Dario, he's that stretch big that the Warriors needed. And, you know, as I'm power ranking the Western Conference, right, the Nuggets, they got to be up top. Let's show the champs adequate respect. They were the best team in basketball all year. That's what I was saying with Krug and the fellas. I'm like, the Nuggets, man, they just look a step ahead of everybody. And then number 2, I think I'm putting the Suns. If I'm power ranking, I think I'm putting the Suns at 2. I just really like what they've done. Obviously, getting Bradley Beal. They still have Ayton, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. And, you know, they got these vet minimums that's what was kind of pissing me off. I mean, Utah Watanabe at the vet min, that's a steal. You know, Josh Okogie, like, they had a lot of signings that were, I was envious of how the Suns were putting together that bench. So I'm going to power rank. I'm going to put the Suns at 2. And then from there, you know, Grizz, Warriors, Kings, like those all feel, I'm putting the Warriors ahead of those two. I'm giving them the edge. So I would power rank the Warriors right now after this Sarge signing as 3rd in the Western Conference. You know, the acquisition of Chris Paul, I think it is going to really help that bench. We know how bad the Steph-less minutes were. When Steph went to the bench, the offense tended to struggle. So Chris Paul, I think he's going to solidify that second unit. Saric, they already got the familiarity. So, you know, I think this team is better than last year. I think this is a better team. Now, there's still one roster spot open, right? They're not going to fill the 15th spot because they want to save some money on the tax, but there's still a 14th guy that they can add to this roster. And why don't I run down? Oh, what's up, Amin? He said, damn, the Warriors got Dario Saric, CP3, and re-signed Draymond. Best free agency ever. Wow, Dunleavy is cooking. I sense some sarcasm there, but you know what? I'm okay with this offseason right now. There's still one more spot. Who knows? The buyout market. I heard Cy on Locked On Warriors. Shout out to Cy talking about the buyout market. There could be another player or two that becomes free that maybe we weren't expecting. You know, I heard him toss out Gallinari or a Muscala, but who knows? But anyway, there's still some free agents out there. Let me run them by you guys in the chat, or if you're watching this back, let me know in the comments. But Kelly Oubre, maybe a Kelly Oubre reunion. You know, at the vet minimum, I didn't like Oubre at his previous salary when we had him, but at the min, you know, he's a defensive-minded player. You know, he's high effort, high energy. You know, the three-point shot is really streaky. You know, he got off to that icy cold start, and some fans, I mean, including myself, were kind of like, man, Oubre, this is supposed to be the dude that's going to get us back to the playoffs. It didn't happen, but at the vet min, Kelly Oubre, I'm interested. Derek Jones, crazy athlete. You know, maybe for the last roster spot. What about a Morris brother? One of the Morrises is available. I believe it's Markeith. You know, just some size, some toughness. And here's the one that probably intrigues me the most. You know, it's kind of a big swing, and it's TJ Warren. We all know that he had that big bubble. He was balling out in the bubble. And I didn't hear much about him last year. I think he might have been banged up, to be honest. But TJ Warren, when he's right, you know, he's a wing. He's got some size, and he can score. So I would like that off my bench. So TJ Warren. And then Twitter's favorite, and he's a favorite of mine, the Magic just cut him. Bol. That's my dog, man. I love me some Bol. And just that size, that skill set. Like the dude's 7'3". He's got handle. The jump shot, I know the percentage wasn't good last year, but I think he's got stretch capability. I think he can stretch the floor and be like at least a solid, potentially good shooter from distance. And he's 7'3". So I love me some Bol. That being said, Steve Kerr ain't gonna play Bol. You know, as much as I love Bol, I don't think Kerr would give him any minutes. So I do not expect the Warriors to sign Bol. But JTA is still out there. I mentioned Christian Wood, who I don't think would take the minimum, but you got to call him. You got to try. Hey, Christian, let's boost your value like we did DiVincenzo. Willie Hernan Gomez, that is Bo Cruz's older brother. He's bigger. He's a center. He was with the Pelicans. I just think he's a solid backup big. When you play some of these centers, I feel like you want a 7-footer with some size, with some girth to put on a Jokic or put on an Ayton, or if you face an Embiid. And Willie Hernan Gomez, I think he could fill that spot duty. Backup Kevon Looney, and if you want to go bigger than just Saric at the 5, Trace Jackson Davis. We'll talk some summer league in a minute. We haven't seen Trace Jackson Davis, so Willie Hernan Gomez is intriguing to me at least. Frank Kaminsky, Myers Leonard. These are all names I'm monitoring. I wouldn't hate some of these names I'm mentioning if they were the last signing by the Warriors. And the last one, he's a kind of a guard wing, but he always kills us, dude. It's Will Barton. He's out there. Barton feels like he always has these big games against the Dubs. So maybe I just have that in my mind. And my opinion of him is higher than others because he always does good against us. Whenever I'm watching him, Will Barton's getting buckets. So he's out there. Those are some names I'm monitoring for this last roster spot. Celts, Rich Celts Live. Thanks for sliding through. We got your guy, E. Yee! I love me some Saric. I thought the Oklahoma City was going to buy him out last year, and the Warriors could get him, around the deadline after he got bought out. But OKC liked him, and I understand why. They wanted that veteran in the locker room, so they held on to him. But now Dubs finally get their guy. Okay, I was nervous for a second. I got to be honest. They're talking about maybe Sarge to the Heat. As he wants to live. That's where Lillard goes. He might follow him that way. I was getting a little nervous, but hey, Mike Dunleavy, you pulled through. Work ain't done yet, man. Get on the phone, Mike. Let's go. We want more dudes. Chat's live. Amin sliding through. So the Lakers ranked higher or lower in your eyes after the Sarge signing? I got the Lakers one spot above the Warriors in my Western Conference power rankings. I just did it. I went Nuggets, Lakers, Warriors, and then Kings are right there. I do like the Kings, man. They got this dude Sasha Vezenkov coming over from the EuroLeague MVP. He can shoot it. He can rebound. Keep your eyes on Sasha Vezenkov, the lefty, I believe. The lefty, smooth shooter. He's going to help the Kings big time. He's a really good player. That being said, if it's so tight between these teams, and I think they're, in that same tier, I'm going to side with my squad. Okay. So I got the Warriors third, but the Lakers beat the Warriors last year. They were bigger. They outplayed them. The length, Anthony Davis played out of his mind, and I think the Lakers have had a really good free agency, a really good offseason. I thought they got Austin Reeves, might be the steal of the offseason contractually. Do I have that number? Let me see if I have that number. Give me a second. These are my notes from a previous show. They got Austin Reeves at 4 years, 56 mil. Okay, that's like 14 mil a season. That's half of what Jordan Poole is getting paid. Is Austin Reeves half the player of Jordan Poole? Not to me. Like, who would I prefer? I think it's really close. Okay. Jordan Poole, I think he's more of a dynamic scorer. But to be honest, I think Austin Reeves might play. He's more of a winning basketball player, more of a team player. I think he's better defensively. He has a better shot selection. So I thought that contract, that Austin Reeves deal, honestly, I was disappointed that the Lakers got him back at that clip. I don't know why some of these teams with cap space didn't go after him. Austin Reeves is really freaking good. Like, he's a good player. And 14 mil over for 4 years, man, that was a steal. So that one, not gonna lie, that one kind of ticked me off that a team didn't make the Lakers pay up or just sign him away from the Lakers. Anyway, why don't we move to some Warriors Summer League? I've been locked in on these Summer League games, right? And they lost last night. They haven't been looking too great. I mean, the Warriors are small, in the regular season, and they're small in the Summer League too. It's like it's small ball everywhere. But they got 3 players on this Warriors Summer League team that I'm watching that have NBA potential. There's only 3 guys on their roster right now that I'm seeing that have a chance of playing in the league. And first is, the first round pick, the rookie Brandon Pajemski. He hasn't wowed me. I got to be honest. Pajemski hasn't wowed me. He's looked solid. What I love about Pajemski is the dude gets boards. Like, shot goes up, he's attacking the glass. He's a fearless rebounder. And I love that. That's something, hey, when I played basketball, that was something I loved to do. I loved to rebound. It's an instinct, and Pajemski's got it. Okay, so I do like to see that. The shot, he hasn't been lighting it up from distance, but it looks good. He's been respectable. The shot looks good. I think he's going to knock down a few in one of these Summer League games here soon. I want to see them play Brandon Pajemski more on ball. He's been playing a lot off ball, but I want to get the ball into his hands in Summer League a little bit more. Like, they're running out these. They got a couple tiny point guards that are getting, Yuri Collins, and who's the kid they're starting? Kendrick Davis. Like, they're starting these little point guards. They're playing these little guards next to Pajemski. Let's go a little bigger. Let's get Pajemski on ball and see how that looks. But Pajemski, he's been solid. He's been all right. I got to be honest. The one concern I got with him is he is extremely left-hand dominant. Extremely. Like, I'm wondering if he's even going to attempt a shot with his right hand this whole Summer League. Someone let me know. I'm watching these games. I'm trying to lock in. I do usually put the Giants game on my tablet or vice versa, so I'm in dual screening it lately. But I want to see if Pajemski can use his right hand, right? He's a lefty. It's something like Killian Hayes, the Detroit Pistons point guard, the French kid. I liked him coming out, but one of my concerns with him was that he's extremely left-hand dominant. And I think it's kind of hampered him a bit, early into his NBA career. When NBA defenders know that you're one-handed, they can play you a certain way. They can make it tough. When I was watching Pajemski at Santa Clara, he finds ways to get back to that left hand. Like, he'll drive, and it looks like he has like a right-hand layup. He could go up, but he'll stop, he'll spin, and get back to his left hand. So it's just something I'm monitoring. He does have a nice floater, so that'll help him, because then you can just get the floater off before you have to really challenge the shot blockers in the paint. So I do like the floater, but just keep an eye on it. I'm telling you, he's extremely left-hand dominant, and I'm watching to see if he does anything with his right hand in terms of finishing at the rim. Okay, let's see what the chat's going off. When I hear bowl, I think of teriyaki chicken bowl with sushi wasabi. Okay, Rich. Okay. You say Warriors way better than Lakers. Warriors way better than the Lakers before Saric. I mean, the Lakers took us out though, Celts. That's the thing. And I thought the Lakers outplayed us, to be honest. Uh, but hey, I mean, it's right there. It's close. Yeah. Platform. Thanks for stopping by. What's happening, Baller and folks? I'm in enemy territory, Lakers Nation. Hey, I can't lie. I kind of pumped up the Lakers a little too much in this stream. I liked what they've done this offseason. Amin says, nah, Reeves is better. Jordan Poole's making like double Austin Reeves. I know. Yeah. Platform says Reeves is a better basketball player. The Lakers got a steal on that contract, man. I don't get it. I don't get why teams didn't bid him up. Go swoop on Reeves. Kale said the Warriors beat themselves last year. They weren't a team. On paper, it's easy to rank, but when the bullets are real, we know who the only team currently in a dynasty is. That's facts. I can't argue with you there, Kelts. Lakers beat the Warriors handedly. Handedly? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Warriors needed to make some adjustments. They could not just run it back. They couldn't. So they get Chris Paul. They bring in Dario Saric. Is that going to put him over the hump? I don't think that beats the Nuggets, to be honest. I just don't. I think they're still a move away. Is it something they could do at the deadline? Can they flip a Paul? Do they need to add a JK to go and get a big boy? We'll see. Obviously, you let the season play out, and maybe this roster really gels, and they don't need to make a big move. And this is it. Amin says Quinones has been a dog so far. Yes, Amin. And that's net. Let me get right to it. We talked Pajemski. Quinones is next on my list because I said there's 3 players who I think have NBA potential that are playing right now on this Warriors Summer League roster. It's Pajemski, it's Lester Quinones, and it's Guy Santos. But why don't we get to Lester? I mean, Lester's looking like Jordan Poole 2.0 out there. He's sidestepping, hitting threes. He's taking dudes off the ball and finger rolling it. Like Quinones, he's been putting up buckets. So, yeah, absolutely. If the Warriors can get him back in that two-way deal, we saw how many minutes Kerr gave the two-way guys last year. Talking Anthony Lamb, talking Ty Jerome. So if Quinones can get in on that two-way, he might be able to step up in a similar fashion. Quinones has been really fun to watch. He's been a bright spot in these summer league games. So I'm not going to lie, some of these summer league games are kind of tough, dude. It's like the last basketball I watched before this was the NBA playoffs, and the finals where you're watching these elite, you're watching Nikola Jokic, you're watching the best players in the world. Now it's a summer league where it's like the players haven't gelled. There's not a lot of chemistry. They're good players, but and not NBA playoff type basketball being played here. But it's been fun to see some hoops, watch some baseball. It's kind of making my evenings a little more enjoyable watching some sports. But Lester, shout out to Lester, keep it up because he looks like he could be an NBA player, who can contribute as soon as next season potentially. So I'm keeping tabs on Lester. And then Guy Santos, the Brazilian, he was with the G League. He was in Santa Cruz last year, shot 33% from distance in Santa Cruz, which is respectable. Not good, not bad. But Guy, he's intriguing, man. This cat, Guy Santos, is very intriguing. He's got size. He's got good vision. He can pass the rock. The shot is coming along. Like the shot, it's solid. It's decent. He has a good foundation to build from. So if Guy can improve that and he becomes a good shooter, now, you're 6'7", you can pass, you can shoot, defense. Sometimes when he's running, it looks kind of cumbersome. But then when he's sliding his feet on defense, it looks pretty good. Like, I don't think he's a liability defensively. Last night, he got a couple steals jumping into passing lanes. Guy Santos is very intriguing. What I want to see from Guy, I think he should be the man on Santa Cruz this next year. Like, I want him almost in like a Draymond Green facilitating role, but like he could also be aggressive. I want the ball in Guy Santos's hands a lot. in Summer League. I want to see where it goes. He just turned 21. So let me fact check that. I don't want to give you guys bad info. I believe Guy Santos, yeah, he just turned 21 last month, less than a month ago. So he's young. I think he's a really intriguing prospect long term. He should be the guy for the Santa Cruz Warriors. Give him the rock, let him play make. The dude will be aggressive. That's one thing. Guy Santos, you don't have to tell Guy Santos to be aggressive. This dude, if he has a sliver of daylight, he's pulling up. And I really like how Guy Santos, he's been going to the rim. We're talking about Pajemski's really one-hand dominant. Guy Santos, he's been finishing with the left, with the right. He's really crafty. So Guy Santos, I can't say, hey, he's an NBA player. I don't think he's ready to contribute next season, but he's a guy to monitor. I think he's intriguing and he has potential, especially if that shot keeps developing because he's got good size. So that is my NBA Summer League, Warriors Summer League thoughts. And why don't we move to let's hit up the comment section before we move to the Giants. I have a feeling some folks are talking ball in here. Yeah. Hack says, shout out to D Hack. He said pods, hustles, and rebounds. That's 100% D Hack. 100. Shot goes up. And Pajemski, he's looking to grab boards. He's mixing it up with the big boys. Like I've busted my nose a couple times trying to rebound with the big boys, broken nose. It might happen to Pajemski. I'm not that I want to forecast a broken nose, but the dude is fearless rebounding the ball. He's I wouldn't call him an elite jumper, but he's going up and trying to compete with the big boys for these rebounds, which I appreciate. Kel said, get those likes up. Yeah, hit those likes. That way we get a few more people on here. Giants game's at 1. Hey, we're talking Bay Area ball before the Giants kick off. Breaking news by Shams. Suns are the front runners to sign Bol. Damn, let me see if I got that. Phoenix Suns are the front runners to sign. I mean, what else is new? Just add it to the Suns' strong offseason. Suns have had a strong offseason. Man, I love me some Bol. I don't know why the hell he got picked in the second round. Apparently there was I don't know if there were some red flags or what, but Bol was supremely talented. I think he's going to be a good player in this league. I don't know when. They say big guys take a little longer to develop. Speaking of which, how fast did tables turn on Wembanyama? I mean, everybody loved Wembanyama before yesterday. Then he goes out. He had the 9 points, 2 of 13 from the field, which is not good. But I thought his performance was good. I think he had like 3 or 4 blocks yesterday. He had a nice finish with the left, which is impressive. We've been talking, offhand a lot today. But there was a lot of overreacting to Wembanyama's first Summer League game. Let's pump the brakes. The guy's going to be good. Very interesting. But Bol sounds like he's going to the Suns. Jay in the Bay. What's up, Jay? He said, that's a clean-ass Giants hat. Never seen it, but it's clean. Yeah, Barry Bonds sliding in. Shout out Barry. He said, Willie Mays? No, it's Barry, supposedly, allegedly. I mean, look at those muscles. Got to be Barry. I mean, the muscles on that hat, yeah, that's Barry. He said, what about Sabonis at 40 per? Crazy. Are you saying that because it's like an overpay? I don't think so. I think it sounds about right. Sabonis, he's an all-star. It's what all-stars kind of cost nowadays, If the Kings didn't pay him that, there's probably 10 other teams that would. That wasn't Lakers love. I got to keep it real. The Lakers, they've had a big time offseason, and, I can't deny that. Nick J said Bay Area baller. Nick got a new logo. What's up, Nick? He said Summer League's hard to watch. It is, man. I've been trying to lock in, really on the three guys I was talking about, Pajemski, Quinones, Guy Santos, because those are the guys who I think have some potential. Just to round out the Summer League talk, then we'll go to some Giants here. Who else? Kendrick Davis, a little point guard. He's hitting some threes. Javon Johnson's been kind of disappointing to me. He's a shooter, but and then they got a Jace Johnson as well. That's the big guy, the big white boy who's been starting for him. Like he's decent. Like he's just like a big for Summer League. He could be a G League big, but I don't really see him playing at the NBA level. Sorry, Jace. Yeah, that's Summer League. We'll have more info as the games keep going. But Giants. Okay, the Giants, obviously, they had the 10-game win streak. And since that 10-game win streak, they've been 3-7, or they're 3-7 in their last 10. And what sucks, man, is these injuries, dude. The injuries are piling up for the Giants, namely Thairo Estrada. Thairo Estrada is the straw that stirs the drink of this Giants baseball team. And he got hit on the hand by a pitch. Mitch Haniger got hit. He's supposed to be our big bopper. So it's like two of our big-time offensive players are down. And Thairo Estrada, the dude's playing at an all-star level. Let's see if I could pull up his stats here real quick. Because Thairo Estrada, he's been phenomenal. I mean, he's hitting 272. He's got 18 stolen bases, 46 runs, 31 RBIs, 18 double. Thairo Estrada has been phenomenal, and now he's going to be out. I think it's like at least a month, maybe like a month and a half. It sucks, man, because the Giants, they were giving us some hope. I was starting to think that maybe they're a move away from being able to make a run. Because back when these Giants were winning these championships, right? 2010, 12, 14, they didn't have the best roster in baseball. They had good pitching and timely hitting. That's what can get you a World Series. And they had that. And I didn't think that the team, the way they were playing since Pat Bailey got called up, the way they were playing, I didn't think they were too far off. I thought they were a starting pitcher away, was how I had been phrasing it. Which they still are a starting pitcher away. And I've been trying to figure out, who are the potential arms. I know starting pitching, it's a need for a lot of contending teams. That's why the bidding price is probably going to go up, which is why I want to buy low on a guy. Some of these bigger names like Corbin Burns or Shane Bieber, maybe even Marcus Stroman, like those names, it's going to be expensive. You're going to have to give up some prospects, like some good ones. But if you buy low on a guy, I'm looking at Lance Lynn, whose ERA is over 6. And you're like, well, why would you want a guy whose ERA is over 6? Well, he had a really good last start. Seems like he's kind of turned the corner. He really struggled early in the year. And then his Ks per 9, he's striking out over a guy an inning. Like Lance Lynn still has some stuff. Sometimes going, from the AL to the NL, it could help a pitcher. Changing ballpark. And when you buy low on a guy like Lance Lynn, it means you're not giving up premium prospects. Okay. You're holding on to your top guys. You're giving maybe, some B or C graded prospects. So, Giants, it sucks. The injury bug has came up, but what I do like about them is I think the lineup has good depth. 1 through 9, especially when they were healthy, 1 through 9, there were no easy outs in this lineup. And that's what I loved. I think that's really what they had going for them. Yeah, they don't have the 40-plus homer guy, but they got a lot of guys who can get you 20, So if they got to get healthy first and foremost. And if they do, they also need a starting pitcher. So it's something that I'm monitoring. Lance Lynn, I would like to maybe go get him for cheap. He's on the last year of his contract. Last final notes on the Giants. Let's check the chat. See what's going on. Spicy Marinara is back, bro. The Bucks picked him up. Nick, trust me, I'm aware. As you know, I am the bus driver of the Nico Mannion train. I gave him the nickname Spicy Marinara. And you can saw why I named him Spicy last night. He had a blow by, finished with a dunk, like on dude. That's where you get the spicy in the spicy marinara. The marinara part, you got to figure that part out on your own. Nick said, Giants are a 500 team, especially with injuries. I think if they are close to 500 at the trade deadline, deal the players who have expiring contracts for prospects. I completely understand where you're coming from, Nick. Who would that be? That'd be like Jock. You know, I love me some Jock. I am biased. He's my former teammate. Hashtag StarMaker Baseball. But last year of his deal, yeah, I heard the Yankees have some interest in him. You can get some prospects back. But man, the injuries suck, dude, because I was starting to buy into the fact that I think the Giants could be contenders. I thought they were a pitcher away from being like playoff contenders. And then once you get into playoffs, man, baseball ain't like basketball. Baseball ain't like basketball. You get into the playoffs, you got a shot. As long as you got a couple arms, you got, a deep lineup, you need timely hitting, you got a chance in baseball. And I thought the Giants were a pitcher away, but now with these injuries, feels like they're a little more than a pitcher away. So we'll see where they're at the deadline. I'm not ready to say that this team should sell quite yet, because if they turn it around, they start winning some games, and they're in the mix for a playoff spot, I wouldn't mind buying low on a pitcher. If Estrada's coming back and the reports on Haniger are good, he's going to be coming back, then I don't want to give up on the year yet. Plus, I want to contend because I want to go after Shohei Ohtani, fellas. I want to go maxed out, balls to the wall for Shohei Ohtani. And the only chance I think you got of getting a guy like Shohei is you got to show this year. You got to show. You can't lay an egg. He's not going to want to come to a loser. He's been at a loser with the Angels. Okay, I have a feeling Shohei, he's going to want to win some games. He's going to want to go to a winner. So it's like, it's another reason, to be honest, where it's like, I want the Giants to, like, they need to show out for that reason. I want Ohtani. This dude, he's the best player in baseball. He might be the best player I've ever seen, okay? Straight up. I mean, and I'm Barry Bonds. I got him on my hat. I mean, Shohei, he's practically Barry, and he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I mean, that's how good the dude is. For real. You said sell Jock, Conforto, and Cobb, and the other players that are expiring contracts. That would be ugly, Nick. You do that, then it's going to be. I know you got Patrick Bailey, who's been exciting as hell, but then what are you going to watch, man? Who's going to be out there? I don't know, Nick. We'll see where they're at. I'm not opposed to it right now. I think that's a little premature, but we'll see. I get where you're coming from. I have to get to another game. Me too. Yeah, I haven't been to one this year. I usually go to 2-3 games a year. Feel like, get the fam out, get the kids, get them their hot dogs, walk around the stadium, because Oracle Park, it's just fun to just walk around and just scope it all out. So definitely. But the question I put on the rundown, are they cooked? Are the Giants cooked? I'm saying no, fellas. I'm saying no. I'm not ready to say they're cooked. I was just thinking that they were contenders like a week and a half ago. I'm like, man, they're a pitcher away. So I'm not ready to write them off yet. The Giants will go through waves. They will get hot again. I see them getting the wild card when it's said and done. That's what I'm saying. That sounds realistic. That's not far-fetched. Hey, you got to overpay this man. Like, dude, if the Dodgers get Ohtani, like, come on. Can't let it happen. Farhan. Listen, I know I've given you some crap. I've been tough on you. I've eased up on you. I've eased up because the depth of this lineup has me feeling good, 1 through 9. I like the depth that you've developed. But Farhan, do not let the Dodgers get Shohei Ohtani. Overpay. It'll be right in time for Niner football. Hey, bro, less than a month away. I think we got about 3 weeks. About 3 weeks till training camp. Gee, 246. It's that NorCal, SoCal rivalry. He said, show is ours. He's seeing it this weekend. We are welcoming him. Go. No, I'm not saying that. I ain't saying that. Can't do it. No. Can't let that happen. Cannot let Shohei Ohtani go to the Dodgers. What do you think about making this year a redshirt freshman year for the youngins and going hard next year, especially if they are hanging around the 500 mark with 3 to 5 teams ahead of them? That makes sense, Positive Panda, Frisco Drummer. That makes sense. I understand it. If they're hanging around 500 and, it's not looking like the Giants are going to make the playoffs, then sell. Kind of sounds like you're with Nick here. Just go young. Which the last thing I'll mention with the Giants is Helio Ramos coming back from an oblique strain. He's been tearing it up in AAA. Or he might have been in AA and AAA, but since coming back from the oblique, he's 18 for 28 in his last 28 at-bats. He's got 18 hits, 5 home runs. Like, the dude's ripping the cover off the ball. So Helio Ramos, we were talking about how the Giants are dinged up. You might see him make his return to the MLB roster. I think I read July 18th is the soonest Ramos could rejoin the team. So Helio Ramos may be coming in to give that outfield a boost. We'll wrap it up on some 49ers talk. Giants game's about 10 minutes away. He said there is no rivalry. Okay. You come to Oracle Park for a Giants-Dodgers game. I think you'll get a different vibe. Because I've been down there. Me and my buddies, this was, it must have been probably 2012. This is 10 years ago. There was 6 of us. We went down. We're Giants fans. We went down to LA for a little mini vacation, the 6 of us. And we went to the Giants-Dodgers game, all decked out in Giants gear. I don't know how we can get into a fight that night. Thank God. Knock on wood. We went in saying, hey, let's be kind of tight-lipped. We don't want to. This is their territory, right? So let's not talk too much smack. That went out the door. You get there, start popping cervezas, and people start chirping. This was, I said 2012. Yeah, it was after the Giants had won, I think 2 out of those 3 World Series that we got. It was after the Giants had a couple, so we're coming in, off a championship, and we were running our mouths there, and there was almost some action after the game as we were exiting, but it didn't happen, thankfully, man. Thankfully. When you're in someone else's territory, you got to know your limits. So if you're a Dodger and a Laker fan, do you automatically qualify as a Rams fan? Good question, Kelch. Not for me to answer. Good question. Okay, let's get to some Niners. We'll round it out. So I've been watching, the Joe Montana documentary. It's called, what is it? Joe Montana. Oh, I got it right here on the damn screen. Joe Montana, Cool Under Pressure. I've been watching it, man. It's really good. I highly recommend it. It's 6 episodes. I got 1 more to watch. I've watched 5. And obviously we all know about Joe, one of the all-time greats. But this documentary really just gives you some tidbits, some information that I wasn't privy to. You had heard about Joe's injuries and the back injury, but to see it happen, to see him rehabbing in this documentary, Joe got hit The guy had back surgery immediately after, and people thought, like, okay, is his career over? Back surgery in the middle of the season. Joe Montana made it back that year, which was really astounding. It was impressive. The dude's tough as hell. So just learning some additional info on Joe was really cool. Just how competitive Joe Montana is. Like everything he did, he was competitive about it. And honestly, I'm kind of the same way, to be honest. Me and Joe are practically the same guy. No, but he was just ultra competitive, and the way he just constantly came back in these games, throughout the 49ers dynasty. There were so many comeback wins. It was remarkable. If you guys need something to watch, it's kind of slow for 49ers news and action. Hey, go back, find this Joe Montana documentary on Peacock. That's where I'm watching it. Really good. That being said, 49ers, man. Why not? Why can't they win a Super Bowl this year? The team is loaded. There's talent all over the place. Okay. We're talking, they got top 3 players at their position at tight end, running back, defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker. Like there's just elite players all over this team. And especially watching what Joe Montana overcame in this documentary, dude, Purdy gonna make it back, man. He's gonna make it back. Purdy will be back. So watching that makes me feel confident. Like Purdy's gonna be back and he's gonna be right. And that being said, right before I went live today, Maddie Mayoko dropped like a little video. I saw it on Twitter. I said, man, what's Matt talking about right before I'm going live? Let me see if I got to be privy to this news. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, so I'm not quoting exactly, but the 49ers like Trey Lance more than ever. He looks better now than he's ever looked in a 49er uniform. So that is good, right? I like to hear that. But then he also goes on to say, there are so many questions about what he can bring to the table. He's just talking about just the questions that are still surrounding Trey Lance. They like him, but he may never get his chance, is what Matt Mayoko said. Said Trey Lance may never get his chance, especially if Brock Purdy's back and fully healthy. So there's some final thoughts. We're gonna run through these chats and then we're gonna get ready for some Giants baseball. He said, "Yeah, sir, it's dangerous to do that downtown." Yeah, I mean we were all right. We were all right. Giants Dodgers are one of the best rivalries in sports. Real talk. That's how I feel, Kelts. Who do you think the Niners are cutting? Not because they were bad, because the Niners are stacked at their position. Ambry Thomas. I think Ambry Thomas is. I think he's out of here. Obviously with Charvarius Ward, Diamador Lenore, Isaiah Oliver, Sam Womack, Daryl Luter. I like these other guys more than Ambry Thomas. I don't know if I've always been a little lower on Ambry Thomas. Apologies, Ambry. Maybe you can trade him. I don't know if a team will give you a 5th or a 6th round pick for Ambry. Hey, I had a decent run at the end of the season a couple years ago. But Ambry Thomas would be a surprise cut. Charlie Warner, I think, is getting cut. Ross Dwelly, maybe, because as I'm looking at it, how many tight ends? They're probably going to keep 4. They keep 3 or 4. I can't remember what they kept last year. But I think Charlie Warner's out, and that's because, obviously, George Kittle, Cameron Latu, the 3rd-round pick, but I'm really high on Braden Willis. Braden Willis is my guy. I just think he's really physical as a blocker. He has really good angles as a blocker. Like he's springing running backs free. He just The dude's just a really smart blocker, not the biggest guy, but he gives you everything he's got. As a pass catcher, Braden Willis, we're talking, he's really good after the catch. He's tough to bring down. Like if you're going to tackle Braden Willis, you better bring everything you got. Otherwise, he's going to run through an arm tackle and he's going to keep going. He was a yak beast at Oklahoma. So I think Braden Willis is going to make the roster as a 7th-round pick. So you got Kittle, you got Latu, you got Willis, Ross Dwelly, Charlie Warner. Are they going to make the squad? I would say Ross Dwelly would make it over Charlie Warner. So that's why I put Warner out. But, there's going to be a good linebacker getting cut. I'll tell you that. Teams around the league will be monitoring what the 49ers do as far as who they cut at the linebacker position. Let me pull up the Niners depth chart because I don't want to miss anybody. But obviously, you got Fred Warner, you got Dre Greenlaw, and then that third spot, there's like a camp battle going on for that. Is it McCrary Ball? Is it Oren Burks? Is it Demetrius Flanagan Fowles? They got the kid out of TCU that they just drafted, who's D. Winters. So teams are monitoring the 49ers linebackers because, remember, the Niners traded one to the Broncos, Jonas Griffith, who I really liked. And I thought he was playing pretty good for the Broncos. I think he ended up getting injured, but you might be able to do something similar here. Maybe you can trade one of these guys for a late pick. I think it's possible because the Niners are loaded at linebacker. Apologies, I'm just pulling up this depth chart so I could see who could be some surprise cuts. That's a good topic. I might need to put a video out on that one. At the wide receiver position, I don't think Danny Gray I don't think he's getting cut. I've heard that kind of being speculated. He was really quiet his rookie year. Danny Gray was a special teams contributor late in the year. He was a really good gunner. I saw him flying down, forcing some fair catches on the punt returners. Like, I think Danny Gray is here to stay. Like, he's going to keep getting better. Anywho, Jay in the Bay said, what network is the Joe documentary on? Peacock. Yeah. Really did. The 49ers dynasty revitalized the whole Bay. It did. Absolutely. Yeah, they touched on some of that in the documentary. So back to surprise cuts. So we said Ambry Thomas, the veteran tight ends, Ross Dwelly, Charlie Warner. The wide receiver position, Ray. I think we're going to have the same receivers as last year. I don't think Ronnie Bell is going to, you think he's a practice squad guy. Tay Martin, I think he's a practice squad guy. I like him. But I'm not going to have them supplant either Danny Gray or Ray McLeod. I'm not ready to go there yet. We'll see. Training camp, still about a month away. But surprise cuts along the offensive line, I'm not really seeing it. I'm not seeing any surprise cuts along the O-line. The DN position is what I'm monitoring. I've talked about it many times. I want the Niners to go out and make one more move, bring in one more pass rusher opposite Bosa. If that was the case, then someone could get cut who might be a surprise. If you think Kerry Hyder getting cut is a surprise, but yeah, it's all about I'm seeing as far as surprise cuts. I think this roster's pretty solidified. I think there's only a handful of spots that are kind of up for debate amongst the 53-man roster. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Giants game's about to kick off. I'm about to lock in. Go Giants. I hope all of you guys have a great weekend. Like this video on the way out if you could, so more people see that one later. And subscribe to the channel. Chat has been live. I appreciate all you guys for stopping by. And more content will be dropping soon. So stay tuned. Peace.